All righty, welcome everybody to this special episode of Brownsville Tech Live. And tonight we've got a triple whammy. We've got three hosts tonight. In the house is Doug Blunt, also known for his Doug's Dugout baseball show, which is coming back here real soon. And he's also known as the Apple Guru of Gurus. And we've got a new host. Actually, he's not that new of a host. He's been my host on the Gamer Zone. His name is Ramiro. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey,
Glad to be
Daniel,
here, Danny.
Thanks for having us on.
Yep. Glad to have us
Alrighty.
on. Glad to be back on.
Well, tonight we're going to talk about Dave Ramsey. For those of you who don't know Dave Ramsey, he's a financial advisor. He also has written several books and also holds a class called Financial Peace University. So one of the things that we want to talk about is whether Dave Ramsey is real or is it a gimmick. And tonight we've got three guests or three hosts that have gone through the process of following Dave Ramsey's ideas. Alrighty, so the very first thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and flip over to, give me a second here. Where is the screen? There it is. Give me 1 second. We're going to flip over to a video of some of the things that Dave Ramsey talks about. Give me a second here. Hold on. Where did my... I had it here. Give me a second. Where are you? Capture. I just saw the lettering here. Oh, come on. There it is. It's just that my scroll goes too fast. Give me a second. Alrighty, here we go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and watch a video here.
Now, the stuff we teach here, and have for almost 30 years, is proven. It's no longer an opinion. It's not a theory. I don't agree with Dave Ramsey's advice, which would make you wrong. And I know you're writing a blog from your mother's basement and you're looking for clickbait using my name. I understand that, but you're wrong. And it's always humorous to me to see people who are broke on Twitter ragging on the advice that I give. Or a broke 26-year-old journalism student deeply in student loan debt writing an article about me. That's humorous. Because it's stupid. Here's the thing.
There you go. That's the
Here's
first
the
stupid.
advice that we give you. If you do these 5 things from the Bible and from your grandmother, they're called common sense, you will win with money 100% of the time. Now, I don't know exactly how long it will take you, and I don't know what win with money
By the way,
will
we're
mean,
actually streaming
because I
this
cannot
via
predict your
YouTube, so I
income,
hope the YouTube police
and I cannot predict the
don't knock
tragedy
us
that
out.
you will have to overcome. But subject to your income to tragedy ratio, to the extent you do these 5 things, you will win with money. You will become wealthy in North America if you will do these 5 things over and over again. Number 1, you need to have a written plan, a budget. Jesus said, don't build a tower without first counting the cost, lest you get halfway up and you're unable to finish, and all who see you begin to mock you and say, this man began to build. No one began to build and was unable to finish. No one accidentally wins at anything. And you're not the exception. I don't like Dave Ramsey's advice. I don't give a crap. You're wrong. You have to do a written game plan with money or you're going to lose. The second thing is you got to get out of debt. Your most powerful wealth-building tool is your income. And when you spend your whole freaking life giving your money to banks who fill up the skyline and have furniture nicer than yours, that makes you stupid. Get out of
The
debt.
second stupid.
When you don't have any payments, you know what you've got? Money. Do I care if you get out of debt? Yes, I want you to win. I want you to have a great life. But do I care if you agree with me? No. I don't care if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me about this money stuff, you're what's known as wrong. I've been doing this longer than most of my critics. They were peeing in their diaper while I was doing this stuff. They're wrong.
Wow, you've
Live
gone off the
on
rails.
less than you make. Number 3. In the house of the wise are stores of choice food and oil, but a foolish man devours all that he has. If you spend everything you make, you're a fool. Well, Dave, you don't know about my situation. In America today, wages are stagnant. So why are they stagnant at your house? You know where wages are stagnant? On people who are stagnant. You're only got stagnant wages if you decide to stay there and keep getting those wages. This is not Russia. You can quit. I don't like how much Walmart pays. I don't like how much McDonald's pays. So don't work there, stupid. Go to work for somebody else. I don't like how my company treats me. So leave. Go be somebody. There's no reason that you have to be stuck somewhere because some liberal journalist said you were stuck. You're not stuck. You're stagnant. Don't be stagnant. You know what stagnant pond water does? It grows scum on top. You don't want to be stagnant. You get scummy. You need to go be somebody. You need to leave the cave, kill something, and drag it home. You need to decide that my life is not good enough the way it is, and so I am going to control the controllables. I am going to change some things. Because guess what? Nobody in Washington is going to fix your life. Santa Claus doesn't live there, baby. Have you noticed that the Democrats and the Republicans, neither one could freaking add? Have you ever had any of them send you money? No. They are not going to fix your freaking life.
I'm a vegan. I can't go hunt for animals.
Life. You're going to get on a plan. You're going to get out of debt. You're going to live on less than you make. And then you're going to save some money. You know how rich people get rich? They save money. Wow. I don't know if I agree with Dave Ramsey's investment assumptions. I don't give a crap if you agree with my investment assumptions. You know what my investment assumption is? My assumption is you're going to be broke until you save money. That's my assumption. You need to get up off your assumption and go do something. You need to get up off your assumption and start investing some money. 100% of the people that don't save money don't have any. Wow, how's that for insight? Doesn't take a freaking rocket scientist to figure this out. You know what the problem on your investments are? The problem with your investments is not your rate of return. It's not your expense ratio. It's not no load versus load. It's not your nerdy, twisted up, toxic butt opinion about some investment. Your problem with your investments is you don't have any. That's the problem with your investments. 100% of the people that build wealth save money on purpose a lot. Some people do it poorly in a stupid money market account and make no money on their money. Others do it wisely in mutual funds that outperform the S&P, or real estate that they pay cash for that outperforms the S&P. Others are just passive and do the S&P. And they all write books about it and all have a freaking opinion and make money off of you while you're stagnant. That's stupid. Don't be stagnant. Invest money, save money. You know how you're going to do that? You're going to be on a plan. You're going to get out of debt. You're going to live on less than you make. And voila, there is money in the budget. It's called margin, baby. And now you got the money to be rich. You got to act like rich people. And that's not go spend a bunch of money, moron, because rich people don't go spend a bunch of money. I'm going to go buy a Ferrari. I'm acting like rich people. No, you're acting like a moron. That's not, Ferraris aren't rich people. That's the ultra rich. You don't buy a Ferrari if you're a millionaire. That's It's crazy, you people. I'm going to act rich. I'm going to rip people off. That's just a liberal nonsense. Rich people don't rip people off. They didn't get rich by ripping people off. That's just stupid. Don't be stupid. It makes you look bad. Don't do that. And if you'll get out of debt and you'll invest and you live on less than you make and you have a plan, then you can do the last one. It's the most fun you'll ever have with money. You can be outrageously generous, randomly generous, lavishly generous. But broke people can't do that because they sit around and discuss their investment philosophies while they invest nothing. It's like people smoking weed discussing the meaning of life. They ain't getting nothing done. You need to get up off your assumptions and go do something. It's your turn.
Since the dawn of man,
All righty.
Okay.
Wow.
Must
I
have his
feel,
coffee.
I feel like if I just came out of a green swampy resaca, I need to go shower.
Or in
So,
my
Doug,
case,
what
the
do you
Green
think?
Monster swimming pool.
Oh my God.
Well, I started Dave Ramsey. I started listening. I tell you about maybe 15 years ago. Okay,
Yeah.
I started listening to. I picked up Dave Ramsey on the TV, I think somewhere, and I started listening to him. And then I downloaded the podcast and you see what he had to say. And then I used to go for long bike rides, and I'd listen to Dave Ramsey. And so, I wanted to get out of debt. This is like maybe 15 years ago. Okay, so
Yeah.
I bought the envelopes. I got back then there wasn't so many credit card transactions or debit cards and all that, and so I went out and got 7 envelopes and put money in the food budget, put all down the line, right, like he says, and we lived on that for a long, long time. And I had over the years I had tried several things to get out of debt, and he could, he made sense, and so I as Dave Ramsey would say, I drunk the Kool-Aid and bought the T-shirt, right? That's one of his famous sayings.
But in your case, what was like a ballpark of your debt, and did you have a business, or were you working at W-2
No,
or
I was
subcontract?
working. I was, Danny and I were working at the same place, and at that time it was under the old management, and it was a pretty decent place to work, and we occasionally got raises and stuff, but my dad was down here my dad was living here at the time, and he lived right behind us, and so I had to take care of him too. So I basically wanted to get out of debt because I knew that I just was coming off trying to recover from the divorce, and pretty much wiped me out financially, and so I looked at myself one day and I said, hey, listen, I would be a lot more happier and I would be a lot farther along in life if I didn't have debt, if I didn't have credit card debt. And we went out to California back in 86 or 87. It was 86, and for a job, and we lived the California lifestyle. Okay, we bought the house. We only paid $123,000 for the house, but we still had to buy a house, which was a lot of money back in 87. But we had to, first thing, we bought the house, bought new furniture, remodeled the house, and I was working just every day, like 6 days a week. Most of the time I worked 7 and she worked 6 days a week. And, and we couldn't keep our head above water. And we didn't drive a new car either. I drove a 63 Cadillac back then. It was nice, but anyway, it was like,
So what was the debt? Is it like 50,000, 100,000,
Well,
20.
and down here, when we moved to Brownsville or Rancho Viejo out here, is that I think maybe I had maybe without the house was maybe 25,000, something like that.
Okay, that's the average debt, credit card debt, personal loans, not including a mortgage, is somewhere around 30 to 40,000 per family. Now,
Yeah,
Is
the thing
that
about the credit card
is
debt
that
is that
true?
we owed money. The ex and I, we owed money on things that we didn't even know what we bought. That's how many years it was. I mean, we bought some
yeah,
stuff from, I think Montgomery Wards. You know, they were alive back then. We owed a bunch of money to Montgomery Wards. We owed a bunch of money to Sears. We didn't know what we don't remember what we bought from Sears, but we owed the money. And then just go down the
That's
old, Chevy Chase and all the other places, and
what
so
um what was
thirty thousand
your
dollars is the
APR
average.
rate for your mortgage?
well, we lived here and we bought this place in 2005, 2000, I think it was 2005. And I'm paying 7.75 right now. Okay. And the reason why it's so high is because I bought it from an individual and I'm paying her every month. And I've been paying her
Yeah.
all this time. And to tell you the truth, I kicked myself in the ass because when the rates was down real low, I should have refinanced. But then we
Right.
got such a good deal. Hey, our house payment's only $500 a month in
Yeah, I
Rancho
mean it's
Viejo.
not too high, but I mean the lowest you
Yeah,
could probably get is around 2 to 3, 3.5.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I had
Yeah,
such
mine's
a
about
bad
3%.
experience. Yeah, when we lived in Los Angeles, we had such a bad experience trying to get a refinance or buying a house out there. I mean, it's just, with all the paperwork back then, they didn't have computers. You had paperwork you had to fill out this high, and then you had a proof of income and all that stuff. It was all paper. It was all paper trail.
Yeah.
And you didn't know what you're on your credit report back then. You didn't know what was on your credit report, just all kinds of stuff. And I was always too busy to really pay
Consider
attention to
your
it.
mortgage a and then sort of like a credit card. Would you consider it a debt?
No, you're going to have to pay. In my opinion, right now our mortgage is so low that compared to what everybody else is paying for rent, it's just
Right.
it's kind of insignificant.
Yeah.
And the mortgage payments has never been a problem. The credit card debt, that just keeps on going on and on.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
Because
And
so
let's
easy.
talk a
It's
little
so
bit
easy to
about
do.
let's talk a little bit
y-
about that statistic you mentioned, Ramiro. You said that the average credit card debt among the American family is $25,000 to $30,000.
right.
I mean, that is
And you
high.
have APRs anywhere from 7 up to 30%. I think 30, what isn't it 33 the maximum allowed
No, I
I
think
thought it
like
by
was
the
29. I didn't
29%.
know, but I thought it was like 29%.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
no
it's
more than 30,
29.99.
by the
And
consumer protection.
we'll have to ask Pocahontas. She's involved in all that.
So most
Oh yeah.
credit cards are up there in the 30% APR. And
Yeah,
that is a problem. I think everyone can agree that 30% is really high.
not
But
when the feds are. Yeah, not when the feds were giving them money at 2% or 1% or no percent at all for
right.
a long, long time. But
But
this is
if you're someone that's starting off at the bottom and you have bad credit or no credit and you're trying to establish your credit to start building your credit, you have no other option but to take a 30% interest rate.
Yeah, that's
that's
true.
true.
Unless you
The The trouble is that some
So-
places like Home Depot or things like that, everybody's got a hot water heater or something that shoots craps. It's just when you don't have the money. Okay. And so,
but that's stupid. Don't use a credit card
no.
for
And
emergency. You got to use
yeah.
cash flow according to Ramsey.
And then, what
Well,
they'll
let's-
do is that like Home Depot, they'll give you 180 days or whatever the case is. And then they turn around and jack up the interest up to 29%.
Right.
Okay.
You mentioned Home
And-
Depot. You mentioned
What's
Home
that?
Depot, and one of the things. Well, you mentioned Home Depot,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the things that I think I was talking to, I don't know if it was you, Ramiro, or Steve, was I'm toying with this idea of buying a home warranty plan because there are certain situations, like Doug, that you mentioned when something breaks.
Yeah.
I mean, and appliances now are anywhere to $600 to $1,200. Your water heaters are up to $500. God forbid
Yeah,
No,
your,
I just
AC
replaced
craps out.
a hot water heater in October, and it was $19.95, labor and everything.
Wow.
yeah, Danny, you mentioned a few days ago about you thought that your AC was giving out, and that's around a $6,000 job there.
And
Well,
I
that's
can
the thing.
testify to that because 2 years ago I had to put a new AC, and it cost me $6,600 for this place,
Hmm.
and
Well,
this is like
as I was
1,500
also
square feet.
mentioning, if my pool pump gave out, that's $1,200.
There you go.
Right.
There,
So
Right.
some of these
I
home
think,
warranty plans.
Who here in the valley
replace
has
those.
$6,500 lying around in an emergency funds to cover that?
well, I got lucky
Well,
because
that's
I
one of the-
did at that time. I had it. I had the money, and the reason why I had the money because I just retired and I got it from retirement plan that I cashed out.
Yeah.
So I got I got lucky. But I
Yeah,
mean,
Dave Ramsey would say that is very stupid. Never, never take out from your retirement for emergency situation.
I had I
Well,
wasn't, I'm retired. I took the money out because I retired, okay?
Right.
And and I just happened and I got the money and that hit at that time, see?
Right.
But
But
maybe we
but,
ought to go through the baby steps, Danny. You want to go through those?
well,
yeah.
I don't
So
have
so
them
what
written
what I was
down.
gonna say, well, Ramsey says that none of if you don't do it his way, it doesn't matter. You're wrong, and it's stupid, stupid, stupid. And he has been caught flip-flopping very often. Uh, Sometimes he says that your mortgage, if you have a low APR on your mortgage, that it is not a debt, to leave it alone, pay off your credit cards, and instead of paying off your mortgage, use that money for that cash flow for investments. And
Correct. And that's what
other
I did.
days,
Yeah.
other days he says, get rid of everything, even your mortgage.
No.
He will say something like, over the span of 30 years, at the interest rate, multiplied by whatever your the cost of your home is, that's $1 million right there in 30 years. You can be a millionaire if you pay off your house cash and save those $1 million.
Well, I don't ever remember him saying that because he said what I remember him saying all the time, babysit, you don't pay your house off until like baby step 4. I think it is. Yeah. Baby step 4 or
So
5.
can you recall what those baby steps are?
Yeah, the first one's real easy, okay? Okay, his deal is save up $1,000 for emergency fund.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. That's the easy one. Okay. And then in case you have an emergency. Okay. And then the second one is to list all your debts. Okay. And regarding what don't even consider the interest rate. Whatever is the smallest you owe, start on that first, and then it's
So
called a
he's
debt
saying to
snowball.
focus on the small debts first.
Yeah, and
Yes,
So if you have a
the logic
and the high
behind that
interest
is,
ones.
and forget about the high interest. You work on the smallest debts. So if you owe a doctor $100, whatever the case is, start on that. And what the
So-
reason for that is it's a psychological deal. Okay, because you'll say if you start working on, say Home Depot at $10,000 or whatever it is, okay,
Yeah.
you're gonna get disgusted. I'll never get out of
Yeah.
debt. But
Now,
if you
now,
start, yeah,
me and Danny talked about this before, Danny, when you did the episode on credit card debt and how to
Right.
clear your bad debt and what you should pay and shouldn't pay.
Right.
yeah,
Well,
You must pay.
I
yeah,
think
You must
I
pay every dollar.
you what
well,
you
Uh,
must pay. You
yes,
must pay
he
what?
says you must pay every dollar, no matter how long it's been. But by you doing that, if you've had a something on collections for 3 years and you say, okay, well, I'm gonna go pay it,
No.
it's gonna it's gonna have a big negative impact on your credit instead of getting you,
yeah, there is the
started.
7-year period to factor in.
But
And for example,
Ramsey, yeah, Ramsey doesn't want you to build credit.
right.
He don't care,
Well,
but yeah, he doesn't want you to build credit because if you're out of debt and you have cash, you don't need credit. Okay,
Yes.
so
Well, the other thing, because like you mentioned, you and your wife had one job, right? Uh, Dave Ramsey goes into more details and he gives all of these little micromanaging factoids that will just drive you nuts.
well,
And
he'll say, go out, put the kids on Craigslist, all those little stuff that he says all
yeah,
the time.
yes. He says it's common sense. It's common sense, folks. But it does not make any sense. He would tell you and things that are common sense, right? There's 168 hours in 7 days. Is that correct? And he'll tell you you can work those 168 hours a week. If that means that you need 4 jobs, well, get 4 jobs. Deliver pizzas from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. You know, cut your neighbor's yard.
Yeah.
You,
Well,
you
let's
know,
let's go back
you
and
got to be a little
focus.
realistic. So we're at baby step 2, right? So baby step, okay. So you've listed all your
Well,
debts. You're going to start paying
right.
the smallest one first.
right.
Okay,
So
and
let's
that's
But
go
going to
in
take
on that.
you
that's
brought
going
up
to
a
take
good
you
point.
about 2 to 3 years. It took me about 2.5 years to do that. So I paid all
So
my
let me
debt
ask-
off. Okay, and then, but what happened? I found out that because we were pinching pennies so much that we needed a new washing machine. We needed a new dryer machine. And so I
Yep.
had to go out and replace those because in 2 years' time, things wear out. Okay, there's certain
Yeah,
things that run out.
refrigerator, stove.
And we didn't do that. Yeah.
If you have
So,
So
kiddos, every
is
year they need school supplies,
and your shoes and
clothes.
stuff. But you just,
well,
Um,
let me ask.
so that's baby step 2. And then baby step 3 is to have 3 to 6 months emergency fund. Okay.
Yeah. So let's go back. Let's go back to baby step 2 here. Okay.
Okay.
Because we talked about the fact that things break. Washing machine, refrigerator, stove, you name it. I go
Mhm.
back to these $50 home warranty plans. Are they worth it or not? If you calculate over a year's time, you'll be paying $500 or $600 a year. The average cost of a heavy duty washing machine. Are they worth it?
right. I
Well,
I do think that they are the warranties that Lowe's and Home Depot offer, the extended it because now they offer what like always they say, and it's true. You get what you pay for. Um, I personally like Kenmore and Maytag. those are some of the best, appliances you can get when it comes to washer,
Mhm.
dryer, refrigerator, and stove. Those things last forever.
But where are you going to
And
find a Kenmore at now, though?
well, yes,
At
Sears,
Lowe's
Lowe's.
there's no
took
longer a Sears.
yes, but
I
Lowe's
think
took
Lowe's sells
over
the brand.
the products from Sears. So you
Okay.
can get Kenmore and Maytag and Craftsman stuff from Lowe's now.
Okay.
They cost a little bit more. I recently purchased washer, dryer, and stove from Lowe's, and it's all Maytag, and I purchased the warranties for everything. Why? Because they now offer, some even do a 10-year warranty on the washers and dryers and refrigerators and stove. Five. I got the 5, and then I did the additional. I think it was extended warranty for another 3 years. So, and the warranty that the manufacturer offers is very limited. Based depending on the appliance, it only covers the like, for example, the washer. It only covers the motor. Uh, and the tub itself. But other little things you might have to pay some. Yeah, you will pay for parts, uh, and they cover the labor, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
And
well
when you get the
let's
Lowe's warranty, it's an umbrella coverage for the whole thing. If they can't fix it, if they can't find a part, they will replace it with the same one or something of equal value, or you can upgrade and pay the difference.
let's talk a
getting
little bit
back,
about
yeah,
something closer.
about your getting back to your original question, Dan, is that I have found out by experience is that I'll buy a refrigerator or something and I'll get the warranty, just like Ramiro said, but then I forget who I bought it from. Okay.
Yeah,
So I think you're better off if you go to a company, a home warranty company that covers your whole house,
yeah,
sort of
an
like an
umbrella
insurance
coverage.
umbrella coverage. Carry your pool, carry your refrigerator, just everything. Okay, your hot
Yeah,
water
I would agree
heater.
with that. But with the Lowe's, I like the fact that they even offer, they'll come and pick up your broke down appliance and bring you a new one. You
Yeah.
know, even like for me, if I'm not at home, my wife has something break down, I don't have to be there. I don't have to worry about it. They will come and take
What happened here?
do
All
like
right.
their warranty
Oh, okay.
coverages.
Yeah. So I
All
think
right.
you're
Well,
better off
let's
just buying an umbrella for everything than just buying a,
Right.
you buy your ice maker from Home Depot or buy your refrigerator from Lowe's or whatever, because you get totally confused. Where in the hell did I buy this from?
yeah.
Okay.
All
Or
right.
just
Well,
Yeah, or if
like,
you lose a
let's hit
receipt.
yeah. Or
let's
just
hit
like
up
if you
something
buy
a
a
little.
plant, if you buy, get this,
Yeah.
this is a joke in our family. Okay. We buy a plant at Home Depot and it always dies. And Home Depot has got a thing that we'll cover for a year, but we can never find the
Wow.
receipt. Okay. So today we bought a plant. I'm here in my office. And so we literally taped the receipt onto the pot in the back. So we have the receipt and when we bought it. Okay. Because I tried everything electronically. I have all the Home Depot's receipts, but it's like looking at a CVS receipt. It's just like this long,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and so I think buying an umbrella deal is probably the best way to go. That way, it's really easy.
All
You
right.
just
Well,
make one payment.
let's hone
So
into something a little bit closer to home. Apple Care. Worth it or not worth
That's
it?
different. That's different. Okay.
Okay. Well,
In
talk to
my
me.
particular in my particular case, I had a lot of experience. Okay. In my particular case, because I'm 70 years old and retired, okay, I bought Apple Care on my new watch. Okay, and I bought Apple Care on my computer we're talking to now. And then I think I bought it on the phone too. And the reason why is because my income has decreased so much is that I just can't go out and buy a new one.
Right.
Okay. So I have to
Right.
get replacement value. I mean, I have to, yeah. So in my
Well,
particular case, being a senior citizen, is that, I have to, watch my pennies. So, that's the reason why I think the Apple Care now, and Apple Care is really good. Okay. It's
Yeah.
really good.
right.
And you really don't have much hassle with Apple. You call them up, they go, this is not working, da da. And they say, okay, we'll send you a new one. We'll send you a box to put the old one in and send it back. That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
it.
I
Well,
know that
we,
for
we
my
all know
daughter,
very well
I
what
got
Dave
Apple
Ramsey
Care.
thinks about that. He would not
Well,
agree one bit, especially for someone that's retired, that you don't have a work income coming in. Uh, and if you don't, but even if you do, it's still stupid. And according to Dave Ramsey,
well, he wouldn't, he
you gotta
wouldn't
live
buy.
off of the bare minimum. And
Yeah.
he's gone as far as to saying that you should only live off of beans and rice, you know.
Well, he would say, well, why buy an iPhone? Why don't you buy a burner phone or something like that? Or, why do you need a Mac? Well, you can have a PC and why do you need a watch? Why can't you go out and see John Cameron Swayze and get a Timex watch or something? And if you guys are too young to remember him.
Right.
And,
And it's stupid to buy bottled water. That's very expensive when you can get tap water for free, or find a
I
river
like
close
bottled
by.
water.
we buy bottled
Yeah.
water in this house, and I didn't start it. She did. And the water in Rancho is, oh God, it's not so bad. I never did used to, but here lately, when I drink the water here in Rancho, I have to go to the bathroom about every 15 minutes.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
And I drink more
That's
water. She buys I forget the bottled water name, but we drink a lot more water now than we ever have. We never used to
Uh,
drink this much water, but I'll drink a gallon a day easy, and so will she.
yes,
yeah.
but you
Yeah.
could save a lot of money and become a millionaire just by saving on water.
Oh my
Get it
gosh.
down to the pennies. You might have to spend more up front. Make sure you buy it cash, but get a water filter for your home,
Oh my goodness.
and get your cost of water down to a penny per gallon. And by the time you hit about 175 years, you will become a multimillionaire
Oh
just
my
by
goodness.
saving on
All
water.
all because
Yeah,
of water.
if you're Duncan MacLeod, as a Highlander, yeah, you might live long enough to pay for it. I mean,
So
but I
Doug,
mean,
what's the third step?
we got a water filter in our refrigerator. Hell, those things aren't
Yes.
cheap either. Those are 45, $50 at least.
So that's one of the little factoids that I'm telling you, that
Oh
Dave
yeah, he
Ramsey
goes
gives
on.
you
Yeah, yeah.
in the Financial Peace University baby steps. And what I've noticed is that he puts fear into after he demoralized you and calls you stupid I don't know how many times, and you're you're a you're like a what do they call those swamp creatures, an ogre,
Uh,
that can
Politicians,
come out of a green
politicians.
pond. Yeah, and how stupid you are. Then he puts fear into you
Well,
when
I'll tell you right
when
now, I've done
the
a
first thing
lot of.
he will ask you is, what is your income? Uh, how much money do you have coming in, and how much debt do you have? And
Right.
when you tell him how much debt you have, he loves to give that reaction like, ooh, stupid, stupid, stupid.
Well, it all
It's
depends what it is. I mean, if you got $100,000 in student loan debt, now that's pretty stupid. But we've all made stupid decisions. You got to
yeah.
realize this guy's on the radio every day, and he's got to have entertainment. Okay,
yeah.
so
Well,
he's
well,
going to
he, he's
say
he's
stuff
got
like that.
he's got to put that fear. He's using fear tactics, because then after you're all down and out and you don't have anything to say, you feel so hopeless.
You there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
I think we lost him.
I think we lost
So
Rand.
what's the third baby step?
$9.99 to get started, which is what he
Okay,
charges
it's
for
yeah,
What's
for
the third
the
baby step, Doug?
Financial Peace University book.
yeah, but you really don't even need that. I mean, you can just go to Google and say, "Hey, what's the baby steps for Dave Ramsey?" and just follow the baby
Well, it
steps.
cost us $150.
And not even for Dave, not even for Dave Ramsey. You can find plenty of other budget advice
Well, Susan,
videos
like
on
for example,
YouTube.
Susie Arman. Okay, now Susie Arman, she says, well, pay the interest, the highest interest off first, right, on the credit card debt.
Right.
And they're all about the same, but getting down to baby step 3, and that's 3 to 6 months savings in case of emergency. That was a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Okay.
Were you able
Yeah.
to get that step, and how long
I
did
got
it take
down
you to
to
get there?
I got down to baby step 3. I got into baby step 3. I pretty much completed baby step 3. Okay. But then I got but at my age, see, I didn't have a whole lot of money saved in the 401k where Danny and I worked at before they were offering that. And so I took his advice,
Right.
and he says, save 15%. Okay. Don't save 11%. Don't save 20%. Save 15%. Okay. But that's like that's after baby step 3. And that's actually savings is long-term savings is like baby step 4. Okay. And
Right.
and then there's you got your choice, retirement, or if you got kids, for kids college, right?
Uh-huh.
And then baby
So
step
what do you-
6 is pay off the mortgage. Okay. And then
Right.
baby
And-
step
and,
7, he says live
realistic-
like no one else.
Yes,
How
and he
realistic
also
is
says that
it?
if you don't have a mortgage, he says, do not get a mortgage. Save up and buy it cash.
No,
But
no, I don't think so.
concentrates.
I don't agree with that, because I've always, Ramsey's always said that, you need a place to live. Now, it all depends what kind of house you want to buy. You have to buy a house and I forget what the rate is, but it's like a 30-year income,
Yes,
or
he
whatever
says that
it
it's
is.
stupid to rent. He does say it's stupid to rent. Most people can agree, but not all of us have that luxury
Yeah.
of being
And
able
it-
to
And
buy.
he also, people get on the phone and they go, Dave, I want to have a family. Can I afford 2 kids or whatever? And he always says, go ahead and have the babies. He always says that. He always says, oh, go have the babies, because babies don't cost that much. Okay. And well, that's what he says. Now, I don't think he has, now grant you, he's got kids in their 30s. So he probably hasn't bought Pampers in a long time.
Probably.
Okay.
Right. So
Yeah,
I
but-
was able to do step 1, save up the $1,000, and then I disagreed with him on the credit card situation, and paying on the part of paying off all the debt, because I had some things on collections, but it was closer to the 7 years, and even if it's only been 1 year, it's gonna do you more harm than good, and then you have the risk of paying a collector, and then they turn around and sell your debt, and then they put it back on your credit, and that's a never-ending cycle.
well, unless you get you get a letter from him, you pay him off. But usually he calls those type of collectors, bottom suckers, because
Bottom feeders.
what they do is they keep on
Yeah.
selling the debt off. But then you have to get a certified, when you pay a collector off, he always says, get a certified letter, and then keep it somewhere that you can always have it, all that kind of stuff. But baby step 2, I mean, he always tells a story when he was broke. is that when him and his wife
Right.
filed bankruptcy, is that, you know, he only had so much money coming in. Okay. And he had all these bills. And this one collector calls him up and he says, hey, you owe us money, you know. And Ramsey, you know, he always says, housing number one, that's important. Food number two, transportation number three, so you can go to work. Okay. And, you know, electricity and water number four, right? That's what you have to pay first.
Right.
And Ramsey, you know, he always uses a humorous story as a guy calls him up and says, hey, I want to get paid, you know. And Ramsey says, well, I don't have enough money to pay you this month because you're not on the list. Okay.
Yeah.
And he says, well, what do you mean by the list? And he says, well, you know, he has said, just like I just outlined a few seconds ago, what the priorities were. And then he ends it like the creditor says, well, how do I get on the list? And he says, well, we'll look at it next month. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Hangs up. Okay. So that's one of the stories I always tell.
That's one of the other things that Ramsey says about having an auto loan. Totally stupid. Absolutely do not buy a new auto. And if you do, it's because you can afford one and you buy it cash. But he said, buy a cheap car, buy a $6,000 car, you know, no more than 10,000, buy it cash, and focus on paying off your debt.
I
And
agree with that.
That's where that, you know, I don't, because here in the Valley, and I think that goes for any other place, but it's very difficult to find a mechanic that is trustworthy, that's not going to rip you off. And
the first thing you said in the Valley, never buy anything in the Valley because you're going to get ripped off. Because when I bought my car, I bought a car, an Aztec. Danny knows the car. I bought it 20-some years ago, and they up in Harlingen, and they ripped me off big time. And I paid for that car. I finally got it paid for, and I said, I'm not going to pay any more cars. So finally, the old Aztec was getting old. So I went to San Antonio. Okay. And I actually bought a repo at the repo lot up there at the credit union. I got a good deal on it. I saved about $10,000.
Yeah. I would prefer to purchase a new vehicle. And if I do purchase a used vehicle, it's going to be under 12,000. But I have experience in automotive mechanics, so I inspect them pretty carefully, and I know what I'm buying.
Yeah.
But the average buyer does not, and people buy out of necessity. And I wouldn't recommend pre-owned, even if it says pre-owned certified pre-owned with a Carfax and who knows what else. They can rip you off, even if.
But you can buy a car shield, but then you can turn around and buy a car shield policy, and you can pretty much be covered in case something goes wrong. I'll be honest with
you guys.
Yeah, and the other thing is that your interest rate is going to be higher on a used vehicle versus a new vehicle. So
that's true.
And you're not getting the manufacturer warranty.
Well,
that is
the
a
powertrain
of mind.
The powertrain is going to be covered for so many years, right?
Typically, it's 50,000 miles, 5 years, 50,000 miles for most vehicles. Some do 100,000. Like I think Hyundai does 10 years, 100,000.
But now again, you got like places like Car Shield that you can pay, you know, and by the time, you know, you got to, you know, they cost you a few bucks a month, but at least you got a warranty and you save a lot of money, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I don't see how people buy new cars. I really don't. As much as they are. I mean,
there's people that have $70,000 notes.
What's that?
That there's people out there with $60,000, $70,000 notes.
You go downtown Brownsville and you see all these Yukons driving around, these F-150s and stuff. I don't see how people can afford those cars and trucks on the salaries they pay down here. Okay, and
It isn't.
a lot of people don't. I mean, they've got car payments of $700, $800 a month, and they're only
Yep.
they're not making that much.
That's
You
about
know?
the average, around 700 monthly. But here's the deal with Dave Ramsey, and whether it's a gimmick or not, um, we don't agree. We don't all agree because it doesn't apply realistically to our lives. You know, when it comes to what debt should you pay off, what debt should you didn't. I need to build my credit because I need a good credit score to get a mortgage. You know, I don't, that is my next step.
But if you
So,
don't, if you don't have any debt, you're going to have a good credit score anyway. That's all it comes down to,
well,
right?
I had, in my case, I had bad credit.
Okay,
I had collections, I had debt. Um,
but that's going to
you know, it
fall
was
off in 7 years in some
right. But
cases.
Dave Ramsey says you need to pay it regardless. You got to pay everything.
Yeah,
You
the
you
problem
owe
I
it,
think
is the.
pay it.
I think I don't think not the collections more than 7 years old, because those are bottom suckers. He always says, and
Well,
you
as
know
I've
Yeah,
said
but if
before,
it's 5 years out, if it's 5 years, if your collection is 5 years out, you're closer to seven. And a lot of these collectors are very difficult to deal with. And when you get a hold of them, apart from them harassing you and calling you 24/7, uh, they give you an
now don't
attitude.
hit too hard. I
Uh,
used to be a bill collector.
they give you an attitude, and they don't cooperate. You ask questions. Hey, well, do you have the original receipt? You know, I don't remember the amount. What was the transaction? And you might not honestly remember, but they will not give you a straight answer. So it's best if you leave it alone. If
well,
you're
Well, the
interested
problem
in
is you don't
building
know
your
if it's a
credit,
Nigerian or a legitimate bill collector.
but in some cases, say
right?
you say the bill is $500 and you offer them, say, $300 cash or $250 cash, they'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but you have to be very careful um, that it's not a scam, or that you know
Yeah.
you or
Yeah.
if you don't pay as they say and you don't go through the whole process, it it's just gonna come back and bite you in the rear end, and it's not gonna do anything to improve your credit. Um, and that's what I did. I needed to have recent credit activity and showing that I was making payments on time to establish my credit. And that's what most people don't understand about how to build your credit. So what did I do is I had to first clean out what I could by getting all of those that are close to 7 years out. Uh, I went through a what do you call that, Danny? A credit repair
Credit repair. Credit
Oh,
repair.
where
you
you
went
pay.
you went through a credit repair place?
Yes, I
You did.
believe it was
Don't they rip you off
six
though?
fifty or not the one that I went through. I believe it was $50 a month, and I did it for about 6 months. And because I wanted to figure out, I wanted them to investigate what were the original what was the original transaction, from where, date, what was it, who was the original lender, to kind of sort things out. And they were able to get most things out within 6 months. And after about the 3 months of going through the credit repair program, I was able to open a security deposit credit card, and where you have to give
You,
them, you put $300 of your own money into it, and that's what your credit limit is.
So Was this
Yeah.
a business or was this an NGO, a nonprofit place?
A business. That's,
I've always been told, and I always thought those places rip you off.
There are some
some
that do.
can. There
Now,
are some, if there are sharks out there that if you don't shop around, they can charge you an arm and a leg for
nonprofit's
something that.
different. There's some nonprofit organizations out there that help you with your credit, but
Well,
they're
let me.
legit. But I always thought,
You
these little
I
places
could.
down like in Omito here that, they're in a strip mall or something, Jose's
Right.
Credit Repair. Okay.
Well,
And
Daniel did an episode, and you could do it absolutely almost for free yourself. But it
yeah,
is
Yeah.
it,
you
it is
did.
it is you got to have the knowledge of and the know-how of how to do it.
Yeah.
And in my case, I did not know, and I wanted to get my credit jump started as soon as possible. Which now it's been about going on 3 years, and my credit has gone from the 400s to 680 the last time I checked.
Okay. That's
Well,
good.
So
let me talk a
yeah,
little
it's
bit
it.
about one of the things that you guys blasted was pre-owned vehicles, but I will say that I've owned two pre-owned vehicles in the past, and they actually turned out better than the brand new car, mechanically
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
but
otherwise.
when you must have purchased those before COVID.
Yeah,
In my case, we did. We bought
All
we
right.
bought the car about 2 years before, about 18 months before COVID.
yeah,
Right. And
yeah.
that's where Dave Ramsey was kind of in hot water when COVID hit. It flipped his whole program upside down. And if you didn't know, he's building an empire up there in Nashville,
Nashville.
Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he has somewhere around 1,000 employees. And they it was like somebody had poured acid into the empire, and it was chaos there and he
Well,
struggled a lot to relate and give advice to people because COVID, together with you know uh, the economy going down and now inflation, that and the fact that so many things are on back order, not available. Um, I happened to purchase a used vehicle in the same month that COVID hit. So the used vehicle lots were still stocked, but it COVID started in what was it
March of 20, wasn't
in
it?
March of
21.
2019? That 2019
March.
was it?
I think it was 21. I think.
Or no, 2020,
well,
March of 2020.
Okay.
well. Like
So
I said, I
when
don't know about you guys,
about
but I really don't have
Go
a
ahead.
what
problem with
happened
pre-owned vehicles.
a couple of months after COVID hit and the lockdown started, people got laid off. So many factories started shutting down. Um, the used car lots were wiped out. They were completely wiped out. They were struggling to find
Hmm.
vehicles to fill their lots. Um, and you've seen that, especially you mentioned Ford. Ford had, because of the chip shortages, there was the whole manufacturing process across the board for most automakers came to a stop. So people were out there, even though thousands and millions of people were dying because of COVID, and you're supposed to be on lockdown, people were at home going crazy trying to find out what to buy. They were trying to look for new vehicles, but there wasn't any. So the people that normally purchase new vehicles, they had to go to certified pre-owned or down or down to the buy here, pay here small dealers. And that's what happened. They were buying up all of those vehicles. And so what happened with the people that usually buy the certified pre-owned or the buy here, pay here cars, they were left with nothing to buy. And that was a big problem because they're like, okay, well, it's going to cost me more to fix the old clunker that I'm driving now. But they were left with no option. And that was the other problem. The auto parts stores, they were running out of parts because everything was shut down on back order. So it caused a complete chaos. Even till now, there's still things that are limited. The price went up because of the back order shortages. Uh, now inflation, economy, and you hear talks about another recession coming. So Dave Ramsey really struggled to be able to give advice with what's going on now.
Yeah, I think
Speaking
he's
of
pretty much recovered
layoffs,
now, though. But we're definitely going into
speaking of
recession. I mean, that's another
Yes,
program right there. But I can tell you, I've been looking for work, and even with my skills, I keep on getting responses back. The rec's been canceled. I put in, I apply for a
right.
job, and then it's in the queue for maybe a month or 2 weeks or so, and then I get an email back up. Sorry, we canceled the rec.
speaking of
Yeah. So
layoffs,
about a year ago,
speaking of
I was shopping for another family vehicle, right? Because the one that I had was up there. It was time to upgrade. It was getting ready to break down anytime, and we were out shopping for a used vehicle, and we came to find out that we looked at side to side comparison of the same van, a Honda van, a used one, and this was back in 2022. I believe it was in January, February of 2022. Um, we look at a used one, which I think it was a 2019. It was only about a year old. It had about 50,000 miles on it at a used dealership, and it cost $6,000 more than the brand new one, 0 miles.
Yeah, I've heard
And
stories like that.
yes, it was all because of the COVID shortages and all of that. And I said, no way, there's no way I'm going to go with the used one. I have to give more down for the used one because it's a used vehicle. The interest rate's probably going to be somewhere around 15%, even though I have good credit. Uh, no warranty, no factory warranty. Depreciation was going to be out the roof. I'm going to be immediately upside down in an auto loan like that. I said, no, no, we're going to go for the brand new one, 0 miles, no money down, 5% APR for the 5 years, and 0 miles. I have the whole warranty, extended warranty. Um, so even if Dave Ramsey says that's stupid, I don't think I disagree with Dave Ramsey.
all right,
I
well,
think it all
let's change
depends
the
what your
subject.
circumstances.
Yeah.
In my
Well,
case,
let's
I wouldn't buy a new car. But
yeah.
I'm unique. I'm different than you are. I mean, it all depends up to
Yes,
the
Yeah.
individual.
exactly. We all have unique situations,
Yeah, matter
and
of fact,
Dave,
a couple months ago, I gave a car away because I didn't need it anymore. I gave it to the disabled veterans, and they came and got it, and
yes,
I got the tax
but
break.
Dave
Well,
Ramsey says that his program works for all. It's a one size fits all, and it's not. It's not. I totally disagree with that. And I think it's stupid that he makes statements that way. That is outrageous. It's
I'm
I don't
still
changing
I
on
the
don't
the.
agree.
subject
I
You know,
slightly.
when
I disagree. I'm still on the Ramsey bandwagon. I think he's got a good plan. I mean, you got to go through all these theatrics he does on the radio and stuff, but I mean, the
Yeah,
fundamentals of it, I think it's good. I think it makes sense.
yeah.
Changing the subject,
I would
changing.
normally buy a used vehicle, but like I said, I was left with no choice because there wasn't any used vehicles available, and I desperately needed one. You know, it's a family vehicle, and we have three children, wife's going back and forth to school and stuff. I'm not home throughout the week, and if she breaks down, you know, especially during COVID, that's the worst
Yeah.
time to break
Well,
down.
it's your
Um,
situation.
Yeah.
You're right. A lot of mechanic shops were shut down during the first 2 years of COVID. So immediately we went for the new vehicle, 5% interest rate. You know, it's a no-brainer. 0 miles. So we have I when I purchase vehicles, I purchase to keep them and run them till the wheels fall off to get as much as you can out of it. So
Well, that's what Doug did
buying
too.
new, if
What's that?
if that's your plan to have a
That's what
lifetime
you did
vehicle,
too.
your best option is to
You ran
buy it
old
new.
Nelly all the way to the auction.
Ran old Nelly, all 300,000 miles of her. But
Right.
Hey,
the car
hey
I've
guys,
got now,
let's
the car I've got now,
Yeah.
it's going to probably be the last car I buy.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's change the subject
'Cause,
slightly a little
Yeah,
bit.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if Doug, have you heard about this? But with regards to
Yeah.
layoffs, as you know, Elon started slashing people at Twitter, and then Google followed and Amazon followed on. And I think, wasn't it what government agency ruled this week that no longer can they enforce an employee who gets laid off from talking bad about the company when severance pay has been given? In other words, one of the stipulations to accept severance pay was that you were forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement of some sort. And now
Which I did,
the government has,
and you probably did too, right?
yeah. Well, now
Yeah.
it turns out that that's illegal.
Oh, really?
The
Oh, wow. Now I can
yeah,
really
the
talk bad
companies.
about them.
Well, the thing
Yeah.
was that a lot of Googlers were out there coming out on YouTube, bad mouthing the company, and it turns out that they were threatening their severance pay.
Yeah.
And so now
if they can
apparently
prove
it's
it.
illegal. I don't know if you heard
Yeah.
that or not.
No, I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that yet. I'll have to.
Actually, Leo Laporte 2 days ago had an ex-Googler on there, and that's how I found out about the
I
ruling.
watched some of that. It's been long. It's been like 2 weeks, but the podcast is available now. Yeah, but he didn't really say the part I saw. I didn't see the whole interview, but the part I saw is that he didn't really say that bad things about Google.
No, he didn't, because he was under
No.
the impression that he was going to lose his severance pay.
Right. And so, the old story, you can't burn all your bridges, but all these, like Google, the ad revenues are down. The ad market has collapsed. I mean, you turn, like you mentioned, Leo Laporte, you get on there and he said that, always in the past that he thought, well, in order to keep the network going, he didn't think that individuals could help him. He thought it had to be ad sponsored, but he gets on there all the time and he basically says, hey, I'm going to beg for the next 5 minutes. And he asked everybody to join the Twit discourse line and pay $7 a month. And then he goes on for like 15 minutes or 5 minutes. And then he says, okay, I'm stop begging now. But he talks about the ad revenues going down big time. So all these, and you just turn on your TV set. Okay. And all these stations, like even Fox, Fox you're going to have nothing but, vitamin commercials, the pillow guy, and
Pillow guy.
relief factor. And that's about it. And then you turn over to the other stations and it's about the same thing. And you turn over the baseball network where I watch every day, and it's something that Bell and Howell sells, like, let's put some new windshield wipers on your headlights or something. We got this new product. Stuff that you used to see in the old independent stations years ago. So there is no absolutely, and CNN's laid off a bunch. NPR laid off like 300 people last week. Okay.
And
Right,
why is
but
the
none
ads?
of none
Why
of
is the
them none of them got bashed on by social media. You know, that just goes to show you, they demonize Elon Musk for doing that. But he's very smart because that shows you that he was way ahead of them on being
Oh, he's a
able
smart
to.
guy.
Yes, he was able to predict, and look far ahead enough before it was too late, and did the layoffs way ahead.
They had
First
a lot of
one,
they had a
first
lot
one
of
to do
dead
it.
weight at Twitter. I mean, and they had these people that they had these high positions that he'd make up these titles, and he had a attorney there that was the chief attorney for, what was it, the FBI? Okay, and then I think Trump fired him, and then he went over to Twitter. He got a job over at Twitter. Okay. I mean, the original Twitter owners, they were paying a lot of money for a lot of dead weight,
Yeah, and he got a lot of backfire about having a subscription based check mark, and I hear now that
Zuckerberg, Facebook's going to do it now.
yes, I heard that they were going to charge somewhere around $12 to $14 a month.
Yeah, something like
Which
that.
is
Yeah.
more than what Twitter.
All
Twitter is
your,
what is it? Is it
yeah,
eight,
all
nine
your little
dollars?
podcast, all your little podcast networks, like Jason Snell and those guys like that do Apple Podcasts and stuff. They all have the free podcast, and they all do the membership deal. Every single one of them. And Leo was one of
Yeah.
the Leo Laporte was one of the last ones, but now he says that's keeping his doors open now. It's member supported now. So I mean,
Right. I
because
I agree with it. Elon Musk came up with that idea and said, it was a way to get rid of all the trolls, and Danny knows a lot about them trolls, and how annoying they can be. Uh, but that is a way to get rid of the trolls, because if you have 300 troll accounts, or bot accounts, how they call them,
yeah, bots accounts.
you multiply that monthly by the subscription fee, and it's gonna hurt them. They're gonna stop. They're not gonna be able to afford to throw money away like that. So it's a good way to get rid of them.
Yeah, Musk is a smart guy. There's no question about it. And what they're doing, what he's doing out. I went out to SpaceX. We drove out to space last weekend. We drove out there, and we hadn't been out there for maybe 5 years, 4 years, and we were impressed. And that's coming out of his pocket. All that stuff is.
Yes.
There's no
And
government money coming out of that.
the good news about it is, if you pay the subscription, you're gonna have exclusive access to the viewers. Uh, the algorithms are not gonna bog you down and ghost you and leave you at the very end, where you might not get any viewers. So that's the plus. That is definitely a
So I
plus.
should pay.
So if
I
you
should
don't
pay
if
for
you
the
don't
membership then.
pay the monthly premium, then it's gonna work the same. Your viewership is gonna be, based on how many likes and comments and subscribers you get.
But getting back to Danny's original question about or comment about the severance package deal, I wish I would have known that about 2 years ago, or I wish it would have been true about 2 years ago, because I'm still very bitter over the whole situation that I went through. Right, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, for those of us that had worked there for 20 plus years, it was very disappointing.
It was, and the way they treated everybody over the whole situation, and like we talked about it before the podcast. I don't know any salary people left. I know a couple
Yeah.
left in Mexico,
Right.
but I mean they're all gone.
Yeah.
Dude,
And
going back to that Financial Peace University, do y'all remember there was a part where I don't remember the terms that he used, but the part to where if you start at the age of 18 and you save X amount of dollars, I think this was part of the retirement, the last step, right?
yeah,
Where he gives you a chart and a graph and it shows you if you start at the age of 18 and you save X amount of dollars, by the time you hit 30, you would be a millionaire,
that's true.
But
Yeah.
in order to get there, you have to work as many hours as you can. If it's 2 or 3 jobs, and the more income you have, uh, the faster you will become a millionaire.
Who was the one that came up with that? Was somebody that you wouldn't think of? Was it Einstein? He called it the power of compound interest. It's
Yeah.
it's
called
an
the
old
power.
deal, and
Yeah.
but you could, if you just save a little bit each month, though. I mean, before you know it. But the trouble is that life's got all these little roadblocks, these speed bumps.
Yes,
It's
yes,
like it's like going to the mall here in Brownsville. About every 15 feet, there's another speed bump, right?
uh, yes.
Okay.
But you mentioned something. Wife, you see, he's talking about an 18-year-old going to college, and you have 3 jobs. He never says wife. Wife is not factored into that mathematical equation to become a millionaire.
That's true. Yeah, I will. Yeah,
Because wife, kids, that means you got to have a car, multiple cars. Now
Dogs and cats.
you need a home, whether it's rent or mortgage. You got a whole lot. Now you need a washer and dryer, refrigerator. That's a whole lot more money, and
but then
that's where things get complicated, right?
he'll
Life
come back
happens.
and argue with you if you have no credit card debt, or if you're completely out of debt, you can pay cash for everything. So therefore, life should not be a problem for you.
Yeah, but that's not how Dave Ramsey became a millionaire. You see, he says, "Don't do, don't do as Ramsey does. Do as Ramsey says."
Well,
But
he
if
made
you
his
want to,
yeah, you know,
he made his millions of actually billions off of selling this 129, 129.99 per book. Um, from the time he began to now, year to date, he has sold over 10 million of those books at
right.
130 a piece.
He started
That's
out in
one,
real estate. Yeah, his
yeah,
family.
just in those book sales, that is 1.3 billion dollars with the B as in boy. Just in that.
And he's probably self-published. He's probably self-published too, so he gets more money. But his story is that
Yes.
his mom and dad were real estate salesmen. He became a real estate salesman. He uh started living large. Okay, and he used to work with a bank there in Nashville, a small bank in Nashville, and he would borrow as much money as he could off of that, and they would give it to him because he always paid him back. And then that small bank got sold to a big bank in New York or somewhere. That's the reason why he hates big banks so much. And they
I
said,
believe
"We're not
Wells
going to loan
Fargo.
you. We're not going to loan you more
Well,
money." It's
well,
probably
wait.
Wells Fargo.
There's more to it than that, and he admits it in his videos where he explains, how he began. The reason why when the big banks took over the smaller ones, they went over the loans and they figured out that he was he was doing something to get the loans that was not, uh he was falsifying the information. in order to get the loans that he wasn't supposed to be getting because he couldn't afford it. So
Okay.
they that's why he like you said he began to hate these bankers, you know, and he still does.
Hmm.
He hates them, you know,
Bank of
to the
America.
core.
Just mention the word Bank of America to him, and he just goes off the deep end, you know. But
He goes
Yes.
but
into a rant.
but
So you know, and he's not the only one. I think a lot of people have done that in order to get that loan to get a business started, and
Trump.
that is that is what Dave Ramsey does. You know, he's in the business. You know, and in this case, he went broke with the realtor. You know, in the realtor business, but selling books, he's become a multi-millionaire, possibly
well, because he
billionaire
had
by
no
now.
choice. You know, he always tells a story about him and his small family were living in a one-room apartment, and they just had a card table, and him and his wife sat down and wrote the book, and then he got it self-published, and then he threw a bunch of them in the back end of his trunk, and then he started handing them out to everybody. Okay.
Yes, and now he sells them online. He has s- he has specific tailored editions for churches. So
And
he knows he's very good at the business aspect and knowing
yeah,
And
where
churches
where
peddle
to look
his
for the customers.
classes quite a bit.
capitalism. It just comes on down to capitalism. He does events. He's one of the major real estate people in that area, and you can just watch the home improvement shows on there, and there's just about all the home improvement shows. Everybody's moving out of California, and they're moving to Nashville, or they're moving to
Right.
Tennessee because of the taxes.
Yeah,
Okay.
and now because he doesn't focus on actually printing and selling a paper book, a physical book, you know, with these online downloads, I mean, you imagine the cost has gone way down for him. You know,
Yeah.
he's basically printing out money.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
another guy, Bill O'Reilly's the same way. He sold 17 million books. And he's made a lot more money on his books than he ever did on TV. But the thing is that Ramsey's a smart guy. It's called American capitalism, and he's one of the best guys at it. He's another Elon
Yes, and
Musk.
his business is,
You
is
know,
now apart from the Financial Peace University, uh I believe the business is filed as the Ramsey Solutions.
yeah, that's what it is
Uh,
now. Yeah, and he's
yes,
made
because now
he,
now he's a financial advisor, and I bet to get advice from him for a business, it's probably very expensive.
Yeah.
yeah, and not only that is he does events now, and I mean he's been doing events for a long time, but but I noticed in the last couple of years though he's crossed the Rubicon on a couple things. Is that always before it was Dave and his radio show, and that was him. Well, now what he's added a lady of color as a contributor. He's got I think he's got a couple of Latin people, or
Yes,
Hispanic people that are contributors, and then
yes. There's a they call him the Mexican Dave Ramsey. His name is
Mexican Dave Ramsey. Yeah,
Andres Gutierrez.
yeah. He kind of hit a roadblock about a year ago. There was a black guy on there, and he had a really, really good voice, and everybody liked him. His voice was very rich and all that, but he got playing around the office a little bit too much, and Dave had to let him go. And I forget the guy's name, but he was really good. He was well spoken, and he was a good narrator and stuff, and everything. But he is, like I said, he started playing around in the office a little bit too much, and
Uh, I hope it wasn't the black guy. Was it out of Atlanta? The Pentecostal preacher. I think his last name was Dollar.
no,
Was it?
wasn't him. No, it wasn't him.
Oh,
I
thank
forget.
God.
I think his first name was Chris something or another. But
Yeah.
no, this guy, I think he might have been an ex-football player, but this guy was pretty good. I liked him a lot, and I was shocked what happened, but he got involved with uh, you know, sexual harassment suit there at Ramsey Solutions, and can't have that. So they gave him a
All
couple
righty,
chances.
guys. It looks like my Zoom warning bell is saying I'm gonna run out of
We're
time.
going to wrap
here,
it up.
but,
We kind of got off target here, little Danny. But and to wrap it up, in my opinion, I like the Ramsey plan. I mean, like I said, you got to go through the theatrics with him on the radio or on YouTube, but that's okay. It's kind of humorous, kind of entertaining, But
well,
I think the fundamentals
one
is
of the
good.
steps. I'm gonna try one of the steps and see how it works out.
Yeah, just list all your bills. List, get a piece of paper or put it on your computer. List all your bills, everything. Okay, and what their highest balance is down to the lowest, and start at the lowest.
Yeah.
And you see how that, and it works. It does work.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Alrighty,
we got to do
guys.
as Ramsey says, not as Ramsey does.
Well,
alrighty, guys.
Okay.
Well, it was a great show tonight. Everybody, if you do not know who Dave Ramsey is, go Google it and see what you think. Obviously, the three of us have different opinions of Dave Ramsey, but obviously in the end, it's up to you. Like Fox used to say, you decide.
Fair and balanced.
Alrighty, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys coming online, and hopefully we'll do this again real soon.
Dan.
Tomorrow we've got
All right.
SpaceX Starlink launch, and I believe that tomorrow night we have the Crew 6 launch as well. So stay tuned for those two launches.
Hey, when are they going to launch out at Boca Chica? An orbital flight.
Spring break week. Texas week. Texas week.
Mid-March.
Mid-March. And they find some mushrooms or something out there or something in one of the capsules?
I don't know. I have no idea.
That's what I heard. Leo was talking about it the other day. That happens.
Hopefully they were magic mushrooms.
No, in
aerospace.
As long
as we don't get some unidentified balloon flying over.
I worked aerospace for 30 years. Those programs get delayed and, things go crazy,
I can imagine.
But, yeah.
All righty, guys. Well,
okay, guys.
It was great.
Thanks a lot, Danny. Thank you, Ram.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, nice to meet you, and thanks, Danny.
Okay, bye-bye.
All righty. Bye-bye. Good night.
Night.